staff, and members of the public. I'd like to officially call this meeting at the Niagara Region Council to order. I'd like to call on the clerk to do the roll call, please.
Thank you, Acting Chair Greenwood. Councillor Badaway.
Present.
Councillor Bateman.
Present.
Councillor Campion. Councillor Kiokio.
Present.
Councillor Crater.
Present.
Councillor Diodati. I see you. Okay. Councillor Easton. Councillor Foster.
Present.
Councillor Gannan. Councillor Grant.
Present.
Councillor Height. Councillor Encina.
Present.
Councillor Yip.
Present.
Councillor Jordan.
I'm here.
Councillor Junkin.
Here.
Councillor Kaiser.
Present.
Councillor Morocco.
Present.
Councillor Olson.
Present.
Councillor Rigby.
Present.
Councillor Seaborn. Councillor Secord. Councillor Cisco.
Present, Madam Chair.
Councillor Sorrento. Councillor Ugolini.
Present.
Councillor Valella.
Present.
Councillor Whalen.
Present.
Councillor Witteveen.
Present.
Councillor Zalepa.
I'm here, thank you.
And Councillor Steele and Redikoff will be late tonight, Acting Chair.
Thank you, clerk. I'd like to call on Councillor Witteveen to please read the land acknowledgement statement, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Niagara region is situated on treaty land. This land is steeped in the rich history of the First Nations, such as the Adirondack, the Haudenosaunee, and the Anishinaabe, including the Mississaugas of the Credits First Nation. There are many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit from across Turtle Island that live and work in Niagara today. The regional municipality of Niagara stands with all Indigenous peoples, past and present, in promoting the wise stewardship of the lands on which we live.
Thank you, Councillor Witteveen. If we could all please stand, please, and for the national anthem. Thank you very much. Before we move into tonight's agenda, I'd like to take a brief moment to reflect. As you all know, this marks my final meeting serving as your acting regional chair for the month of June. One of the great privileges in serving as acting regional chair is having the opportunity to see firsthand the incredible work happening in every corner of our region and to meet the people who make Niagara such a special place to live, work, and raise our family. I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to each and every one of you. Despite our differing perspectives at times, there has never been a question of our collective dedication to Niagara. I also want to recognize our dedicated regional staff, CAO Ron Tripp, my Chief of Staff Nick Colosimo, and Executive Administrative Assistant Jamie Jones. Their tireless work behind the scenes ensures that our services run smoothly and that this council has the information it needs to make informed decisions. It's not an easy job, but they all do exceptionally well, and we thank you for your dedication to public service. Over the past month, I've had the pleasure of attending various events throughout Niagara. Ceremonies began right away with the annual Pride Month flag raising on June 1st here at regional headquarters. On June the 4th and again on June 11th, I was pleased to join staff at our regional employee appreciation barbecues. These gatherings are always a nice chance to step away from the meeting rooms and the reports for a few moments, connecting with colleagues from across the organization and thanking our team for the work that they do every day on behalf of the Niagara residents. In addition to serving as acting chair, it was a treat to join the annual review presentation of awards and promotions of 337 Squadron Royal Canadian Air Cadets on June the 6th at the Fort Erie Leisuroplex. The young cadets did a marvelous job. The children of today may be a small percentage of our population, but they're 100% our future. On June the 7th, I joined community partners in Fort Erie for the ribbon cutting of the new early years site. A few days later, on June the 13th, I participated in Doors Open for an eye-opening tour of the DeQ water treatment plant as it celebrates its remarkable 150th anniversary. And thank you, Lois, for all your hard work that you did towards this event. For a century and a half, and the facility has quietly delivered one of the most important services we often take for granted, until we turn on the tap and expect clean water, safe water to be there. June the 15th was a particularly busy day. I joined Ontario's Minister of Auto Theft and Bail Reform, Z. Hamid, for a visit to the Niagara Regional Police Headquarters to learn about the newly formed bail compliance dashboard and to discuss efforts to improve community safety. We also toured the Niagara Detention Centre. Oh, what an eye-opener. And had valuable conversations about the challenges facing our justice system and the opportunities for stronger collaboration. That same day, we also marked Seniors Month with a flag raising here at regional headquarters. And I want to thank Councillor Sorrento for providing remarks on behalf of the region and helping to organize the tremendous contributions seniors continue to make in our communities every day. And finally, on June the 17th, I attended the Niagara Business Achievement Awards. Niagara's business community grows to show remarkable resilience, innovation, and determination. The entrepreneurs, employers, and community leaders recognize that evening represents the very best of our region's economic spirit. Now that the school year is officially over, it brings me great joy to offer big congratulations to all students, educators, and families across Niagara, to all graduates. Whether you're moving up from elementary school, receiving your high school diploma, heading off to college or university, entering the workforce, or pursuing a new path altogether, may your next steps be full of health, happiness, and success. As we are a week away from Canada Day, marking our nation's 159th birthday, I hope everyone has the opportunity to spend some time with family and friends, enjoy the many celebrations taking place across Niagara, and find a little time to relax before we return to the important work ahead. And I understand by the forecast that Mother Nature has predicted some nice weather for that, which I think will be very nice after all the rain we've had. With that said, we have a number of important business items to address on tonight's agenda. Let's continue our work with the same focus and the decorum we've maintained all along. Thank you very much for the opportunity to serve, and I've appreciated it very much. And I look forward to our Regional Councillor Brian Height that will be taking over as acting chair for the month of July. Thank you, Brian. Okay, moving on. Are there any additions to the agenda? Oh, well, we have adoption of agenda. May I have a mover and a seconder for the adoption? Run through? Oh, there we are. Okay. Are there any additions to the agenda or changes of order of items? Seeing none. Is there a mover and a seconder to adopt the agenda? Councillor Encina, Councillor Ugolini. And please vote electronically, please. That's carried. Thank you very much. Disclosures of pecuniary interest. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest? Seeing none. The chair's reports, announcements, and remarks. Yeah, we did that already, right? Okay. The adoption of the minutes. Councillor Morocco, will you move the adoption of the minutes from the special and regular meetings held on May 28th? Yes, I will. And Councillor Gannon, will you second the motion? Thank you very much. Any discussion? Call the question. Would you please vote electronically? That's carried. Thank you very much. Number 8, correspondence. There are no correspondence items. Councillor Foster, will you move the motion? Councillor Foster? Yeah, for CLK. Okay, the CLK 1 2026 delegation of authority for the period of restricted acts after nomination day for the 2026 municipal election. Yes, sir. Councillor Foster and Councillor Height, will you second that motion? Is there any discussion? Seeing none, would you please vote? Whoops. Oh, yes. Councillor Height.
Yes, thank you. This doesn't have the date. Should it not have the specific date that we're talking about, which is August?
Go ahead.
Through the chair, yes, it would be effective after nomination day, which is August 21st.
That's why I'm questioning why it wasn't in this motion. It should state very clearly so everyone knows what date it is after that date that the power goes to the CAO.
The reason why we didn't include this specific date is we weren't 100% sure if the province was going to come down with a regulation regarding the council composition changes. But the earliest effective date would be after nomination day, which is August 21st.
So we aren't sure, are you suggesting we aren't sure what is going to happen prior to that date? Whether there'll be councillors at the region after that date, only mayors? We aren't, I understand that that's a fait accompli.
Go ahead.
Through the chair. So yes, but the ministers, the order indicated that there may be some possibility that they could say that we were lame duck earlier than that date, which is why we didn't include the date.
Okay, the reason I'm questioning that is if there are some councillors that want to run for the region, if the province is going to change their mind, they should be getting their nomination papers ready prior to that date. Thank you.
Councillor Bateman.
No, I'm going to. Thank you.
Seeing no other questions, would you please vote electronically, please? Okay, that passes. Thank you. 9.2, response to the inquest Q 2025-31 from the Office of the Chief Coroner of Ontario. Councillor Seaborn, will you move that motion, please? She's not here. All right. Councillor Yip, would you move that motion, please? Thank you. Councillor Cisco, would you second that motion, please? Thank you. Is there any discussion? Councillor Bateman.
Thank you. Through you, Chair. The letter from the coroner's office is addressed to the Board of Health and it's dated January 2025. When was this first shared with council?
I'm not sure myself because I wasn't here, but do you know when that first was shared? Dr. Kazmani, would you know when that was first shared?
Thank you, Chair. I believe that this may be the first time this is being shared with council. If I may explain why.
Sure,
If
go right
council
ahead.
is interested, I may. This was not sent to the medical officer of health. This was sent to the chair of the board and all chairs of the board.
I'm sorry,
so
I'm sorry, could you repeat that? The
This-
chair of,
This was not sent to the medical officer of health. This was sent to the chair of the board. And that was the case, I understand, for all health units across Ontario. I actually received
Sorry.
this,
sorry, I have a question.
okay.
Chair of the board, what board are you speaking about?
the Board of Health.
So this was sent to the head of council?
Correct.
Okay.
Through you, Chair, correct. It was not sent to the medical officer of health, and I understand that this was the case for every health unit across the province. I actually received this from another health unit when they were inquiring with the province if it was to be sent everywhere. When we received this from elsewhere, it appears that the province had used email addresses that were out of date and for an administrative assistant that no longer works for 3 or 4 regional chairs ago. And so their mailing list was out of date. So we received this later, and that's why we're seeing this now. And certainly there are some issues. We've asked the province to update their mailing list, and in future to also copy the medical officers of health, so we are able to distribute.
Thank
and
you.
So I apologize for that, Chair, through you to council.
Through you, Chair, when did, so this was received by our chair or was not received by our chair in January 2025?
Well, I would say it was received by our chair.
So,
If it was,
Okay.
go ahead, Dr. Kavanaugh.
Chair, I mean, I don't know for certain. I think we would have to ask the chair, and I don't think that
No.
that was possible.
Okay, so through you, Chair, I see that we have responded on behalf of the Board of Health as of June 3rd, 2026.
So,
So,
No? Go ahead, Dr. Kuzmani.
So through you, Chair, we are coming to council to seek authorization to respond with the attached correspondence. We have not yet responded. I believe that there is a date of,
July 23rd, is that?
July 23rd.
may I finish?
Yep.
So I believe that there's a date of July 23rd, which is when we have to respond by. And so to get authorization to council, it had to come now because there won't be another meeting of council until after that time. And so there was no June meeting of PHSSC, which would be the normal, usual process by where we would bring this. And that is why it's dated as such, because it was sent through by our staff, written to be presented to the June meeting of PHSSC, which was then canceled. And that's the reason for the
So-
early date.
Through you, Chair, why are we not having a discussion on it? Why are we simply approving this? I've looked at it, and there's, I think, almost 80 recommendations. I read the recommendations. I think we can do a lot better than what those 4 are. I also read the coroner's letter, which states that we engage with Indigenous groups in our community. I've reached out to them, and none of them remember getting any information from council. And I will say that I am concerned that it seems to me that a letter dated had gone out. I'm happy to hear that it didn't go out because it wasn't approved by this council and the public health, and we do have time to deal with it. So we do have, we call special meetings for other things. There's no reason why we couldn't call a special meeting for this. I think it's worth discussing. So is the expectation, there was no information in this to provide us with direction. And I don't know how my colleagues feel, but when I read all of this, I was a bit panicked, and I had a lot of questions about this. So could I hear from you, Chair, about how we're going to discuss this, how we're going to debate which recommendations go forward?
Dr. Kuzmani?
So Chair, to you, to council through you, there's certainly no intention from staff to limit any debate or to not discuss this further or not to receive the feedback of council. I apologize sincerely if council feels that way. and certainly not our intention whatsoever. And if council wishes to take other steps or a different direction, we will follow the will of council. And as was stated, this has not been sent. It would be inappropriate for staff to send a letter on behalf of, sorry, I should apologize. I should say the Board of Health, not council. And we have not done so and would not do so.
So through you, Chair, are you meeting with Indigenous groups? Where did these recommendations come from?
Dr. Kosmani?
Chair, through you to council, we regularly meet with Indigenous groups. These are a reflection of some of the work that we're already doing. There's feedback from Indigenous groups as well as feedback from the province and other health units that's included here.
Well, through you, Chair, I read the recommendations. I think that we should strongly consider all 29 through 32. The letter clearly states that we should also look at our bylaws to see how we can be more inclusive and to make sure that we are engaging Indigenous groups in really all that we do, certainly specific to public health. I would recommend that before this letter gets sent, or any letter, that it come to the Board of Health for a debate and consultation, because I don't know, I'm looking around the room, maybe everybody did read it and is fine with it and completely understood it. But I certainly wouldn't want us to send a letter without engaging with Indigenous groups specific to this coroner's inquest. So I would, at least, at the very least, like a letter that states that, and I would like it to be delayed until that work is done.
Dr. Kosmani?
So Chair, through you to council, I do understand that it has been made clear that if council were not to respond by the asked deadline, that would be noted by, I think, the coroner in their response. And so if council does wish to take a different path, staff will certainly engage, but our ask would be, or our recommendation would be that we provide the response by the requested deadline.
So I would like to amend this then, at least if this council wants to send a letter and it's your recommendation that we get back to them, you can cite all the reasons why this did not come to council, and I assume those are correct, and the province should understand, and we can say that we're going to make it a priority. We're going to meet with Indigenous groups, and we're going to have the Board of Health review the recommendations solidly to make sure that we understand this. As you know, I think this is really important. I'm shocked that it's come to us this way.
If you'd like to make an amendment, you can. Do you have one prepared?
Well, no, because I didn't really understand what was happening. The letter is dated June 3rd, and we're receiving it at a meeting June 25th. So to me, that letter's gone out. If it's dated June 3rd, that letter's gone out.
No.
So Chair, through you, staff dated it when it was prepared for submission. I think that shows how far in advance we prepare submissions for our council to be available.
And we did not have a public health meeting in June.
Well, that was not canceled through you, Chair. That was not canceled because of us. That was canceled because staff said there wasn't anything to discuss. So if that's true, this is a big deal. I don't know. I would like this I would like to amend this to say that Dr. Kosmani, would you recommend that we send a letter citing the reasons why council wasn't informed? Or would you rather, through you, Chair, would you rather?
Through you, Chair,
Yeah.
if I can be, I don't think that would be received well.
No.
I think that they're looking for a response, not anything
Well,
else.
I don't want to be, I want the letter to say that I did not see this, I did not have an opportunity to look at it and engage, and we did not engage. We did not follow the coroner's instructions or recommendations. So if this goes through, I don't know how we cite that on here, but as a member of the Board of Health, I don't want anything to do with this letter without following the recommendations. So I'll leave it at that, Chair.
Okay, fine, thank you very much. Councillor Kaiser?
Thank you, Acting Chair. So I'm a little confused. You said we didn't have a Board of Health meeting this month. We didn't have a Public Health Social Services Committee meeting. Could I please have confirmation that we, sitting here today, are the Board of Health? Is that accurate?
Yes, we are.
So you did misspeak about
I
that?
said public health, I meant public health.
So no, you said the Board of Health.
I said I meant
Okay.
public health.
Okay, thank you. I do, through you to Dr. Kesmani, or I'm not sure, I just heard someone say that it was addressed to the chair. So I have the letter in front of me that says Boards of Health. So could someone explain to me where it indicates that this letter was addressed to the chair of the Board of Health?
Yeah, go ahead.
Through you, Chair, to Council, this letter was sent to Boards of Health. It was addressed to Boards of Health. The actual email, when it went out, was sent to chairs of the Boards of Health across the province.
Okay,
So on the actual distribution, medical officers of health weren't sent it. It was sent to chairs of the Boards of Health to distribute to the Boards of Health.
okay, so then I guess my issue would lay not with the chief, you did not receive the correspondence, but with, I guess, the chair or acting chair, because this letter is not addressed to the chair of the Board of Health. This letter is addressed to me and to all of these counselors at this table. And I've not seen this until 3 days ago or whenever the agenda was released. And you've had this letter since January 23rd, 2025. It's now May 2026, is it, or June? Yeah.
Order. The date on that letter is very obviously a typo. The inquest verdict was November 19th, 2025. So that January 23rd should be 2026, and it's someone who was just in January and hadn't recognized. So it hasn't been a year and a half.
Thank you for clarifying that. So you're saying that the 2025 is a typo? Okay.
It has to be, because the inquest didn't end until November of 2025.
Okay, so we can maybe get some clarity, but that makes a lot of sense to me. So obviously that's, feeling like it was a year and a half ago that this was not brought to our attention was a bit concerning, but I would say I'm still concerned that whether or not this letter has been predated and now is going to be changed, that's something so consequential and important to have community feedback and to have us have an opportunity to discuss it, I'm very uncomfortable with. And I guess I would I would put an amendment on the floor that counselors, or sorry, that we do reach out to Indigenous community groups and provide feedback, and then you can come back with us if you have any adjusted recommendations by email, I would hope.
Dr. Kismani, go ahead. Do you have any suggestions about having the time between now and 23rd of July to have a meeting with the Indigenous to get their input into this?
Through you, Chair, so I think we can try to, but I know we must also be respectful of others' time. And so we can try to organize something. We can do our best to organize something and have those discussions. I'm not certain that it would be available in time before the July 23rd meeting. If I may, or deadline, I should say, and if I may also address something else, I'd like to apologize in future should anything like this be identified by us. We'll certainly distribute it in the Council Weekly Correspondence as soon as it is identified by us, even if it's not addressed to us. And so that is a miss on my part, and I apologize to Council for
Not making any excuses, but we have had a different type of year with respect to changes of the acting chair, acting chair, since January. And I'm not, as I say, I'm not making any excuses for us, but that does appear to be part of the reasons why this happened, and unfortunately it did. So if we can,
Point of order, Chair.
Yes.
Just to a comment on what you've just said, we did have a chair at that time. We had not an acting chair, we had a permanent chair.
I'm not saying we didn't.
No, I know, but we do have members of the chair's office here.
That's correct.
So if
That's correct.
if
But when
we
you
could
have the
get some insight.
Excuse me, but when you have the continuity of one person that's looking after things January through to the present time, which is 6 months, that's one thing. But when you have several people doing several things over each month, it makes it a little bit different. So Dr. Kazmani is going to try and fit this in the time allotted, and hopefully we'll get that letter to the province, or the coroner's office, before the 23rd of July. Go ahead, Dr.
I think I
Kazmani.
still have the floor, actually, if I understand the point of order, but
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
that's
Go
okay.
ahead.
No, that's okay. So I do accept Dr. Kazmani's apology and acknowledgement, and obviously the correction of Councillor Ip in terms of the timing. So at this point, I guess my question to you, through you to the chair, is if we're looking for, do we need a motion, or is this just direction, and Dr. Kazmani is going to work to try and get the feedback as you were just describing?
Yes, Doc. Go ahead.
Chair, through you, I think clarity on what exactly is being requested would be very, very helpful, because I'm still not 100% certain on what the approval process would be to get it in time and make it available to council for final approval. And that is where the difficulty lies, and I would not want to send a letter. I think it's been very clear that staff should not send a letter on behalf of council, and so we could only send what was approved. And so I think we would need a motion directing us with exactly what to do, when to do it, and how to bring it back most appropriately. Otherwise, it may not get sent.
Okay, go ahead.
So through the chair, I'm going to make a recommendation to council. What I'm going to recommend is that we actually approve the letter as is, that we ask for the medical officer of health and his team to work with First Nations to receive further input. Based on the input they receive, they will send a letter in before the deadline. And that will be with the caveat that it's pending council approval at our next council cycle. And so that way we could send an amended letter at that point in time if council decided that that was the appropriate thing to do. So what that'll do is it'll give us the letter, the approval. We will do the consultation, modify the letter based on the consultation, submit that to the province as a holding letter, and then we'll come back to council in July. And then if there are any changes at that point in time, we'll send an amended letter to council. We do this actually all the time. When we have postings on the ERO, for example, where we can't make the date, we will write a holding letter on behalf of council and submit our comments, and then come to council and then have council approve it, and then confirm with the province that council has actually approved and endorsed the letter that has been sent in.
Thank you for that. It would make me very satisfied, and I don't know if you need a motion to that or if it's just that that's how it's going to proceed.
So,
That's fine. You don't have to move her.
so through the chair, we can take that as direction and we can make sure that that happens, and we'll respond back either way to council next cycle.
I appreciate that, and the thought put into the holding letter is very much appreciated, and the dialogue. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, Councillor Easton.
Chair, through you to Dr. Kazmani. The context that I used when I read through this document was the local context because of the circumstances around Constance Lake, how far it is away, the access that it would have to some of the issues or some of the services that are very common here. And I want to make sure that I understand that our response can only reflect the circumstances as they would fit Niagara and our ability to maintain a well-balanced system based on how things are done here, without putting any judgment on the Constance Lake First Nation. Would you comment on that, please?
Chair, through you to council, I think that captures it. This is really looking at this unfortunate situation and the many contributing factors, and looking forward and seeing how do we see when there are situations that we mitigate such contributing factors and not have similar outcomes. There's also the overarching, what we see overarching here is how do we work together with Indigenous communities? How do we establish our clear roles and responsibilities? How do we respond with public health emergencies and outbreaks? How do we align outbreak mitigation efforts and response efforts? How do we work with the province? How do we work with Indigenous communities on data sovereignty and governance? How do we, beyond blastomycosis, when there are other health issues that primarily or disproportionately affect people who are Indigenous, how do we work together to provide education, to provide resources, to mitigate the health disparities and the health inequities that we see? And how do we continue to move forward working with communities? And I think this extends beyond public health. I know there's also the Regional Reconciliation Plan that Council has endorsed, and I think it's a similar mechanism and a similar path that we all seek to move forward together. And certainly there's always opportunities for us to improve how we do things. And certainly I take the feedback offered by councillors and council today on how we can continue to do that and frankly do better.
Thank you, Dr. Kazan. Councillor Height.
I still have the floor,
Sorry,
Madam Chair.
sorry.
So many of these issues are prevalent to different degrees across the province. And if I look at item 41, 41 speaks to transportation. And they speak about the fact that where necessary, the ministry and the ISC should seek, secure, and maintain any required additional funding to sustain these transportation services. Well, I mean, we can have a debate about this, and we can say that it's horrifying that there isn't proper transportation, but there isn't anything that this community or the representatives at this table can do other than stating a very obvious fact, which I think we already know these things. We can only talk about how the transportation works in Niagara, what resources we have, what are the issues with it. So I must say, Madam Chair, I believe that Dr. Kazmani, I won't argue the point of knowing. I think there's always the discussion about what do we know and what we don't know as a council. But in terms of making the judgments related to what services are available, how we match up to those services, Dr. Kazmani is the person that has that information. So I don't have, I have no issue with, other than the delay, I have no issue with the letter, and I believe that it's realistic for the context of Niagara. This is a very, very impossible situation across the province. It doesn't seem to go away. The issues of water access, clean water, it's beyond the pale. However, we are not going to correct that here. But we certainly do need to meet with Indigenous representatives and tribal leaders to begin to develop a context of our own communication within our own community. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Easton. Councillor Height.
Yes, I don't believe that Dr. Kazmani should apologize for anything. This was an internal problem that we unfortunately landed on our plates today. But through you to our clerk, are we having a committee of the whole on Thursday, July the 9th? Because we could also have a meeting of public health on that date as well. That way, Dr. Kesmani, unfortunately, would only have a few weeks, but could get something put together in the next week or so. And we could deal with it on the 9th at a meeting, if we're having a meeting that day, and I'm not sure if we are. You're nodding your head, so I guess I'm preparing for a meeting that day. Does that solve the problem? That meets the July 20 odd
does that-
date.
So, I think, through you, Chair, anything, I mean, there will be a meeting of the Public Health and Social Services Committee where this could be discussed. But the final council ratification won't come until after the July 23rd. And that is the ultimate
Through the
challenge
clerk,
here.
could we not ratify it that night? And add that to the committee of the whole, also have a meeting of the council or the public health that evening for that one agenda item?
Through the chair, we'd have to call a special council meeting to do so, but yes, that could be done if
So
that's
that could
the
be done
will.
that night. Perfect, thank you.
Go ahead.
Chair, through you to council, I realistically don't believe that in the next week and a half, we would be able to engage in such a meaningful way that we would be able to get something substantially different available. I think if you look at the recommendations and the response letter, it's really that we're making a commitment, or the Board of Health will be making a commitment to continue on this process and continue on this engagement really continuously. And so I think that we presented this letter. We recommend this letter because I do think that it covers what we need to continue to be doing moving forward for a long time to come.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Crespi. Commissioner Sergi, did you want to say something? No? Okay.
Then if this is on the floor, I have no problem voting to accept the letter. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Councillor Height. Are there any other questions? Councillor Campion.
Yeah, thank you. I think my question was just answered by Councillor Height. I'm satisfied with the letter as is, ready to send it out. I don't, there's conversation about bringing it back, about sending in a letter and then potentially amending it. I want to have an opportunity just to vote. Let's just do this tonight and get it done. So through you to the chair, to the clerk, what's on the table right now?
Through the chair, so my understanding is that the Board of Health is going to endorse the letter as it stands right now. We're going to send that in, but certainly after the consultation is done, if there's amendments or an amended letter or revised letter that needs to go out, that would come back to council, acting as the Board of Health, to approve to be sent out after the due date of July 23rd.
Thank you for that clarification. So, Chair, I think that nothing is going to really happen in that interim. I don't think there's time for that. I'm satisfied with what we have. So is there a way to vote to just send it out? And I know what the clerk is discussing is direction that was suggested by Ms. Sergi. As I say, how do I get to vote and just say, let's just send this out?
Would you like me, Acting Chair, to turn that direction into a motion if I have a seconder, so that people could vote against it if they choose? Okay. The way that the clerk said it sounded good to me. I don't know if she's able to draft that. But if people would prefer to vote on that separately as opposed to having it as direction, if that's the will of council, I'm happy to make that as a motion if I have a seconder. Thank you, Clerk Norio. It's very appreciative.
Okay, we just need a seconder to that amendment. Do you have a seconder? No? Is there anyone that would second that? Councillor Kyokyo?
I mean, I would second it if it's reasonable. Would we have enough time? I think that's the question here. I like the motion, it's just, do we have enough time to do this?
Commissioner Surgeon?
So through the chair, there's a practicality, and it's not, there are only so many leaders within the urban Indigenous community here in Niagara, the executive directors, and they comment on everything. They're pulled in many different directions. They're incredibly busy, and so sometimes we don't have the opportunity to do as fulsome a consultation that we would like to do. So consultation tends to take us longer when we do it, partially because they're just pulled in so many directions and they're so very, very busy. It's not for us a lack of wanting to on our part, and it's not for a lack of them wanting to contribute. They do, but they are the friendship centers and all of the other advisory groups and their executive directors are truly pulled in many different directions. We will certainly do, if this is the will of council, everything we possibly can to engage in a meaningful way and report back to council.
Okay, so if this moves forward, then you'll do everything you can to meet in the next little while to try and make it happen. I'll second the motion.
Okay, Councillor Yip.
Thank you. Through you, Chair. We deal with a lot of these letters at the Police Service Board. There's always dozens and dozens of recommendations. And like the recommendations here, they generally come under subheadings that are directed to particular agencies and so on. I have read this before. It's a little difficult to remember 80-some recommendations verbatim. But scanning through again right now, anything that I'm not suggesting that we should not be consulting Indigenous communities here in Niagara. We do that a lot through diversity, equity, and inclusion and Indigenous relations through the team that we have with that. With respect to this particular item, everything I'm seeing with respect to consulting Indigenous communities is about the hospital in question and about the First Nation in question, and not about local public health units across the province. And so my question to Dr. Kesmani, with the letter that has been drafted, are you confident that that letter addresses everything that would be relevant to us as a local board of health that is quite far away from the community where this inquest happened?
Through you, Chair, to Council, yes, we drafted a recommended letter for Council to submit, and we do feel it's comprehensive and covers what is most relevant here in Niagara, but we are always open to receiving Council's feedback.
Thank you. Through you, Chair. That was my reading of the letter as well, that it is pertinent to what is applicable here in Niagara. Again, I mean, I won't vote in favor of this amendment, not because I don't think that we shouldn't be consulting Indigenous communities about a wide variety of things, but to Acting CAO Sergi's point, we go to Indigenous communities a lot to check a box, and they come back with that feedback. I don't mean we regional council, I mean we in Niagara. We go to Indigenous communities about matters that don't directly impact them. This particular item, I'm trying to be very careful because I'm certain that someone is going to criticize me for this because they're not going to understand what I'm saying. I'm talking about this very specific item here. And so I won't be voting in favor of this. I think it's not relevant, and I think that Indigenous leaders locally have a number of local issues to be focusing on rather than this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Villela.
Yes, thank you. Through you, Madam Chair. I just want to apologize because I'm having serious technical issues here, so I am here. But I just wonder, I wouldn't be able to support this amendment either. But I wondered if Dr. Kasmati, in the letter that was written, is it possible to add just another paragraph that would somehow make council feel a little bit better about being involved, because we haven't been, that says, the Board of Health, we respectfully ask that the Board of Health be able to make further amendments as they see fit, or something along those lines? Oh, geez. Okay. Did
Sorry,
everybody else hear that alarm? Sorry.
uh, through you, Chair, to council. Certainly, we're willing to receive the feedback and understand where the letter doesn't meet the expectations of council and how we can amend it to better meet those expectations. And so, well, I think if there's a specific text we can include, then we obviously will include it. This is council's letter, this is not staff's letter, and staff will put pen to paper and provide it back to council to send. But I wouldn't, it would be difficult for me to send anything without that final approval of council, because it's council's letter.
Okay. Councillor Bateman?
Thank you. Through you, Chair.
Excuse me, Councillor Bateman. Councillor Vella, do you have anything else?
Just briefly, I think just a blurb like we do in the legal field, that we have the right to make an amendment, would kind of satisfy things as far as I'm concerned, but, or add, or whatever the case may be. I don't think that that would be a difficult thing, to leave the floor open for any amendments in the future. That's all I'm saying. And I don't think that ties anybody's hands to anything, but gives us the opportunity in the future, or whomever council's made up of in the future, to be able to add, delete, whatever the case may be. So that's all I have to say, Chair. Thank you.
Through you, Chair, to council. Council can direct staff or can ask staff to continue to do work in any way that council wishes. And so, through the various different ways. With regards to this specific letter and the text of the letter, that's where I'm not clear what we would be suggesting that council could amend in the future, or the Board of Health could be amend in the future. Or what recommendations that council would word differently. And so that's where, but if there's something specific in terms of, again, the letter really speaks to that commitment to providing ongoing education, to utilizing findings to enable early warning, to provide to work with Indigenous communities and the urban Indigenous community to establish clear roles and responsibilities. If there is work like that beyond this, that council wishes that staff continue or strengthen, then certainly council always has that right. It's always within council's right to do that.
Councillor Bell, do you have any comment with that, with any suggestions for an addition to the letter that's prepared?
Just final words. It's not a matter of amending anything, Dr. Gasmati. It's a matter of, we as council really have no knowledge other than what we've read here a couple days ago. So giving council the opportunity in the future, you plan to do all these things, which I think are wonderful, but it would have to go back to council at some point in time. And maybe council or the Board of Health might say, can we do this, or can we go a little further on that, or these are the issues that we're having, and these are the the members that we've met with, and these are the suggestions that are being made. So just to have a a blank statement, and not to keep harping on this, would give that opportunity to council to be involved. That's all I'm asking. I'll leave it at that, but I don't see why that would be a problem. I deal with that kind of stuff every single day, and it leaves the door open for further information. So, thank you.
Chair, through you, I believe we did try to capture that in the second last paragraph says, we being the Board of Health remain committed to ongoing collaboration with interested and effective parties to support evidence-informed practices and system improvement initiatives relevant to the recommendations arising from this inquest. And we can certainly add another line, in ongoing relationships with the Indigenous community. I would prefer that it be amended and added so we know exactly what, and so it is not staff that are speaking on behalf of council after the fact.
Just a point of order. We are dealing with an amendment at this point, and that would have to be another amendment. I think most of us here are not interested in it, so let's deal with the amendment that's on the floor.
Okay. All right. Did you hear that, Councillor Villalba?
I certainly did. Thank you, Chair.
You're welcome. Councillor Bateman.
Thank you, Chair. I'm bothered by a lot of things. One, that there has been no effort to engage with Indigenous groups in our community to review this since this letter was received. And if I'm incorrect, please interrupt me. I would love to be corrected on that. Two, this letter seems ready to go and there hasn't been any engagement with council. And I do think, because I've read this too, that PHO in this, which are public health organizations like the Board of Health, are you speaking to me, Dr. Kesmani?
I'm not allowed to talk.
Go ahead.
So yes, we are dealing with the amendment. So taking it back to engagement with First Nations groups or Indigenous groups in our community after we've already sent it, because we have to get it in by the deadline, because that's when the deadline is and they're going to use that information, but we're going to send an amendment after for them to consider. It just doesn't make any sense to me. So Councillor Height, who will be acting chair next month, has offered a suggestion, and I'm sorry if it's not convenient for staff or it provides a tight timeline, but if nothing changes and the Indigenous groups aren't meeting with us, quite frankly, we haven't given them any time, so I would understand that. We've made a little more effort. We just did it's Indigenous History Month. We read the land acknowledgement and we're not engaging with them on several things. It asks us to look at our bylaws. It asks us to perhaps create a seat on public health for Indigenous groups. So none of these things, I don't think our council has considered. I'll finish, Chair, thank you. I don't think we should be sending any letter. I think Dr. Kesmani, as our Chief Medical Officer of Health, should reach out to them, explain the circumstances, explain that there are errors in the letter, that the letter's outdated by a year, explain that we have not had consistency in chair.
On a point of order, she should be speaking to the amendment, and she's not speaking to the amendment.
The amendment is that bring it back with engagement for First Nations. I'm suggesting we do that before we send the letter.
Okay.
I'm speaking to the amendment. So I don't think we should be sending any letter.
Okay.
So
That's fine. We're
So-
going to move on. Councillor Bateman, we have an amendment on the
and I'm
screen right
speaking
now.
to the amendment about First Nations
Is there
and the
anything more that
engagement.
you'd like to say that you haven't already said?
Pardon me, Chair?
Is there anything more that you'd like to say?
Yes, I would like us,
Well-
Dr. Kesmani, I think we should be considering him reaching out to the province instead of doing it this way. So that is
Okay, that's
where
fine.
I will,
You've already said that. That's already been mentioned to Dr. Kesmani, and he's made a comment about that. And he's made a suggestion.
He's
to
saying
that.
it's difficult. He's saying not that it can be done.
Okay, okay.
So, Chair, I will not be supporting this, although I
That's fine.
appreciate us trying to figure it out. I don't think we should be trying to figure it out. I think we should do it the way the province asked us to do it, and we should be realistic with our engagement with Indigenous communities, not say we'll come back to you after we've already sent a letter.
Okay, fine. Thank you very much. Councillor Olson. Yes, yes. Wait, excuse me. Dr. Kazmani?
Chair, my apologies.
That's okay.
Just, if it may be clarifying to council, PHO is Public Health Ontario, the Ontario Agency for Health Protection and Promotion. It's a Crown corporation and a specific organization. And there may be some confusion that is occurring as a result of that.
That's
Okay.
I apologize. Thank you for catching that, Dr. Kazmani.
Thank you. Councillor Olson.
These reports and these letters contain a number of issues that should be of concern to all Canadians, but I don't believe this is the place for them to be dealt with. I don't think it makes for meaningful discussion with Indigenous nations. And I'm going to be voting against this, and I'll be voting in support of the original letter as composed by Dr. Kazmani. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Olson. Councillor Sorrento?
Just got to get on here, Chair, with the, okay, Zanya. Chair, through you to Dr. Kazmani, if this amendment were to pass, how long would it take you and staff to have meaningful discussions, get good data with First Nations, and bring a report back before the deadline and have it approved by council?
Chair, through you to council, I think it would be unlikely that we would be able to get it completed by the 23rd of July.
Okay, thank you. I won't be supporting the amendment, Chair. Thank you.
Okay, fine. Thank you very much for your comments. I see no other speakers. The amendment is on the screen. Would you please vote on the amendment? We have the first a motion put forward by Councillor Kaiser. No, Councillor Kaiser, and seconded by Councillor Kiokio. Would you please vote electronically, please? Okay, that the vote did not pass. We will now go back to the previous motion. Clerk? And we have a motion put forward by and second, I forget who it was, Councillor Seaborn, but it was Councillor Yip and Cisco seconded it. It's on the screen. Would you please vote on the original motion?
I'd like a recorded vote, Chair.
Councillor Badaway.
Yes.
Councillor Bateman.
No.
Councillor Campion.
Yes?
Councillor Kiokio.
In favor.
Councillor Crater. Councillor Easton. Councillor Foster.
Support.
Councillor Ganan. Councillor Grant.
Support.
Councillor Height.
Support.
Councillor Encina.
Support.
Councillor Yip.
In favor?
Councillor Jordan.
In favor.
Councillor Junkin. Councillor Junkin.
Sorry, yes.
Thank you. Councillor Kaiser.
Opposed.
Councillor Morocco.
Support.
Councillor Olson.
Support.
Councillor Rigby.
Support.
Councillor Secord. Councillor Cisco.
In favor.
Councillor Sorrento.
Support.
Councillor Steele.
In favor.
Councillor Ugolini.
In favor.
Councillor Villela.
In favor.
Councillor Whalen.
Support.
Councillor Witteveen.
In favor.
Counselor Zalepa.
Yes.
That's carried. Chair.
Thank you. That is carried. Moving on to 9.3, CLC 24, Niagara Regional Police Service Board request for operating budget amendment. Secondment to the Combined Forces Special Enforcement Unit, Golden Horseshoe. Councillor Kyokyo, will you move that motion, please?
I'll move it, thank you.
Councillor Yip, would you second that motion? Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none,
No, it's not working.
Councillor Bateman?
It's not working. Through you, Chair, do we know if this $140,000 is going to be added to the budget next year? Added to the budget next year to replace the refunds in the funds in the reserve?
Tim?
Through you, Chair, that would probably be part of the budget discussion for next year.
So well, that's what I'm asking. It is part of, I assume it would be, but do we have an answer on that? Because I assume that this would just be added to the budget for next year.
It would be included in the police services budget.
Thank you. Councillor Encina?
Thank you, Chair. Through you, I just wanted to say I have worked with that Combined Forces Special Enforcement Unit, Golden Horseshoe. It's money well spent, and the benefit that we're going to get from that the police will get from that, and the intelligence unit will get from that, is immense. And I think I would suggest we go ahead and approve that wholeheartedly. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments, Councillor Encina. Seeing no other speakers, the motion is up on the screen. Would you please vote electronically? And that motion passes. Thank you very much. 10.1, Public Works Committee minutes, PWC 6, 2006, Tuesday, June the 9th. Councillor Witteveen, would you move that motion, please?
Oh, Madam Chair, I was not chairing the meeting. I was ill, so I'm going to
Okay.
let some.
Councillor Encina, would you put that motion forward?
Absolutely, Chair. Thank you.
Okay. And second the motion. Councillor Height, would you second that motion? Thank you. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, would you please vote electronically? Thank you, and that has passed. That's carried. 11.1, the CAO 1026, update on the Niagara Region Core Services Review. Who's going to do that? Oh, please. It's all right, Barb. Councillor Olson, would you put that motion on the floor, please?
I will, Chair.
Thank you very much. Councillor Easton, will you second that motion? Thank you. Is there any discussion? Councillor Badaway.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I do want to thank staff for bringing this forward with respect to the update regarding the 2026 Core Services Review. Madam Chair, as someone who has repeatedly requested and advocated for a comprehensive review of regional services throughout the past year, and if not even before that, I believe this work is long overdue, as I repeated as well, and essential on ensuring accountability as well as transparency and value for taxpayers. That said, Madam Chair, I welcome the decision to proceed and commend staff for advancing this project. I want to thank you for that. The scope outlined in the memorandum addresses many of the questions taxpayers have long asked. What services are we delivering? At what level? How do we compare to other municipalities? And frankly, including our 12 member municipalities. Are we delivering those services in the most effective and efficient manner possible? And most importantly, Madam Chair, are residents receiving appropriate value for the taxes that they in fact pay? The region continues to face affordability challenges. We all recognize that. And residents are increasingly demanding that governments at all levels do more than simply manage budget increases. They expect governments to critically evaluate programs, eliminate duplication, modernize service delivery, and identify opportunities to reduce costs without compromising essential services. A meaningful core services review provides an opportunity to do exactly that. I'm encouraged, Madam Chair, that the review will include benchmarking against comparator municipalities, assessment of service delivery risks, analysis of resourcing pressures, and identification of savings and non-tax revenue opportunities. However, the success of this initiative should not be measured by the completion of a report. It should be measured by the region's willingness to act on the findings. I would also strongly encourage mayors who will now occupy the only seats in this chamber to evaluate whether services traditionally delivered by the region could be more effectively provided at the local municipal level. I would therefore encourage staff and council to begin discussing how recommendations will in fact be prioritized, evaluated, and implemented once the final report is received. Council should receive clear estimates of potential savings, service impacts, implementation timelines, and any barriers to change. Residents, Madam Chair, deserve transparency not only regarding what the review finds, but also, most importantly, regarding what actions are ultimately and will be taken. I also believe that regular reporting throughout the process will be critical. Council will have opportunities to review preliminary findings, challenge assumptions, and provide input before recommendations are finalized. Given the significance of this exercise, public communication, as well as transparency, should remain a priority throughout this entire project. Ultimately, this review presents an opportunity to move forward beyond annual budget debates and establish a more evidence-based approach to service delivery and financial planning. If conducted properly and if Council is prepared to act on the results, it can help position the Niagara region and/or our member municipalities to deliver higher quality services in a manner that is affordable, accountable, and sustainable for years to come. Madam Chair, I look forward to receiving the findings. Unfortunately, we may not all be here, so we may be just reading about the findings. However, with that said, more importantly, and most importantly, to seeing a clear commitment from the region to implement meaningful improvements arising from this review. And once again, Madam Chair, I really do want to encourage those mayors that will be occupying the seats in this chamber to not stop at this review, but also look at other opportunities that may present themselves with our member municipalities. And lastly, Madam Chair, I'll say that it doesn't stop there. That under the fiduciary responsibilities of those sitting in this chamber and the chambers of the member municipalities, that you continue to do that due diligence as time goes on. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Councillor Badaway. Councillor Cisco.
Thank you, Chair. I'm going to do something I can't believe I'm going to do it. For the second time today, I'm going to say nice things about the region. And I know the Deputy CAO is very excited to hear this as well. I really appreciate this. I know Councillor Encina and I were just sitting here remarking how happy we are to see this coming tonight, moving forward. This is the next step that needs to be taken. During the budget process over the last couple of years, I've said, a lot of our debates wind up frittering around the edges, when in reality, what we need to be doing is identifying what our core lines of business are and how we can refocus regional finances to those areas and set aside those things which we really shouldn't be involved with. I will say the specific objective that was listed that made my heart sing was confirming alignment with legislative and regulatory obligations, including mandatory services and minimum service level requirements. I think that's absolutely necessary. I think everybody in this room has seen mandate creep, where we allow ourselves to get into lines of business that are not within our mandate. They're not within the core business of what the region is here for. We hear about it regularly from residents about how frustrated they get with the duplication of services. I think we can all identify areas where the cities and towns and the region are sort of crossing over, where there is very clearly alignment to be able to find efficiencies, push one level or the other out of those areas so that we're not both spending money on the same things. And that temptation pops up all the time. Councillors wanting to see the region get involved with areas of business that are clearly another level of government's responsibility, be it the towns and cities or the province or the federal government. It's good to see that we're doing this report. I think it's incumbent on the next council to make good decisions with the information that comes back, make difficult decisions in some cases, but ultimately this is the only way we get a handle on our finances here at the region. So again, I want to applaud staff for going forward with this comprehensive review. It's the right next step. It's one that I think all municipalities should be taking on a regular basis. And I just want to applaud the senior leadership team and all the members of staff involved with this. It's going to be a difficult couple of months, but it's an important couple of months for the region of Niagara. Thank you, Chair.
Cisco. Councillor Bateman.
Thank you. Through you, Chair, to Mayor Siska's point, confirming alignment with legislative and regulatory obligations, including mandatory services and medium service level requirements. Are we going to be looking at the downloading from the province as well? I know that that's something we're still waiting to get back from staff. Is that, can you confirm that, Chair?
So through the chair, that's confirmed for you. That's part of determining what our mandate is, and some of that will be items that have been downloaded from the province.
So when will we get that information? Because I thought we were told June, but I might be wrong. I know Commissioner Ellis is here, and he's the one who I always bug about this.
Through you, Chair. Councillor Bateman, you'd recall that we were going to target for July.
So we'll have, sorry, through you, Chair, we will have this at the July Corporate Services meeting, the downloading?
We're attempting to get it there, yes.
Okay. Just to speak about why that's important, I know that we did, I spoke with Dr. Kazmani at the, I think it was May Public Health meeting about how we're funded. We're funded 59% from the province, and they did say that they would fund us 75% at AMO. And they announced there that the province is restoring funding to 75% provincial and 25% municipal cost share. So that was clearly stated by our province, and I think it would be a kind of a good exercise to see what we're providing in addition to that, and then to look at if they are services that really require our support. So happy to see this and hoping that we have the information from the downloading as well at that time. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Bateman. Councillor Olson.
Thank you, Chair. I'd just like to say that I think there's many things that cause me concern. I think we're in, as a community, as a country, I think we're in great financial peril at this moment. And I hope that we undertake this in a serious manner, because I don't think our residents are going to be able to afford to live here. And there's so many people tell me that the taxes and the prospects of increased taxes are going to force them to be moving out of their houses. And I don't think we want to be in that position. But in favor of this report, I would like to say that I think the road to creativity and productivity in this is through planning, which we've seen in the past. We've seen it in wastewater and water management. I think we know what we have to do there in terms of the logistics of making the repairs, so that our system just doesn't fail and leave us with remains of a water system. We've seen it in Niagara housing, and we've seen it, another good example of good planning in our Niagara transit. So I'm looking forward to seeing this. I think that this could be a creative and productive exercise if we do it right and we take the steps that are going to be there. I don't think the steps are easy, and I don't think they're going to be simple. And I think they're going to be painful for a lot of people, but our residents, their standards of living are suffering, and our seniors they don't want to have as much money applied to taxes that they have. They want to devote more of their money to enjoying their retirement, and this is a problem for them. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the result is. Thank you, Chair.
Councillor Olson. Councillor Encina.
Chair, through you to staff, thank you. I have been a real pain in the posterior with you with regards to this over the many years, and I'm glad to see that now it's coming to fruition, and I applaud you for that. I know there's going to be difficult decisions that have to be made, and I'll leave it at that. I just want to, with a smile, thank you.
Councillor Encina. Councillor Foster.
And I'm going to start by agreeing that Councillor Encina is a pain in the backside. There's a number of things that I'm hoping to see come out of this. We did have, for many of us on this council, the KPMG report that came to us back 8 years ago now, that we went through. The council of the day pretty much ignored it as it was going on. And what did they talk about within it? We're giving money to hospitals. We are giving money for incentives. We are giving money to areas that are outside our jurisdiction, but they are things that the community want. So, again, I'm going to go to what Councillor Badaway had to say. Those mayors that are sitting around the table here after the next election, you're really going to have to take a good hard look at this, because I don't think we can afford this anymore. I think we are in some significant jeopardy going down the road, as Councillor Olson said. So I applaud that this is going forward. I think the mandate is right. I think it has to be looked at both at the lower tier and the upper tier. Let's not kid ourselves. Lower tier is digging into areas that they shouldn't be in as well. So, maybe it's time to rip open and have a good look at all of this. So anyway, that's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Foster. Councillor Kiel.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I agree with Councillor Foster and Councillor Encina. I too have been waiting for this Corps Service review for a long time, and speaking about it to colleagues, to the people in the public, I know they've been wanting it for a long time. Along with what Councillor Foster and Councillor Encina stated, the benefits, I truly believe that it's also going to show where our strengths and weaknesses are in this region, and where we can improve on. So I'm totally in favor of it. So I'm glad that it's coming forward. So I will totally be in favor of this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Kiel. Seeing no other speakers, we'll now vote on it. Would you please vote electronically, please? That has passed. Number 12, motions. There are no motions. The notices of motion. Are there any notices of motion? Seeing none. Closed session. Do any members wish to go into closed session to discuss confidential report PDS 13, 2026? Seeing no. We will move to 15. Okay. I would like to remind you of your obligations. Oops. Oh, that's if we went into closed session. Okay. 15. Okay. Business arising from closed session. Confidential PDS 13. Councillor Jordan, will you move the motion, please? Councillor Jordan, would you move the motion, please? Councillor Rigby, will you second that motion? Thank you. Is there any discussion?
Yes, I will.
Go ahead, vote electronically, please. That carries. Thank you very much. The bylaws, Councillor Kaiser, would you move the bylaws, please?
Yes, Acting Chair, I will.
Thank you. Councillor Sorrento, will you second that?
Happy to do so, Chair, thanks.
Any discussion? Would you please vote electronically, please? And that vote carries. Is there any other business this evening? Councillor Bateman.
Thank you. Through you, Chair. I have questions about our, well, several members of council received a letter from a resident of Niagara regarding the negotiations about the EMS contract. And I'm wondering if we can just talk about where we are in that and how negotiations are going.
Councillor Meffe?
It's Director Meffe.
Yes, Director Meffe. Director Meffe, would you care to comment on the EMS negotiation, please?
Thank you, Chair. Through you, just a quick update. As mentioned, May 13th committee meeting, there was a confidential memorandum that was on that meeting that mentioned that amongst several things that we were in conciliation with QP 911 this week on June 23rd and 24th. I can confirm those discussions have gone well and that the parties are looking to try and reconvene sometime in early September based on vacations over the summer. So there's really nothing else to report at this current time other than that we're trying to get another date in the fall.
Thank you. And through you, Chair, there is concern of a strike, and I hope I'm not going out of bounds here in my questions, but can you speak to the potential of a strike before that time?
Sure. So through you, Chair, there's no potential of anything of that sort happening until that time. There are some discussions that are happening with the Labor Relations Board, but those are not scheduled until October.
Okay. No other questions. Thank you, Chair.
This meeting is now adjourned. Oops, not yet. Whole bunch of speakers. Oh, okay. Councillor Foster.
Slow
Can't
down.
get out fast
Slow
enough,
down.
eh?
Slow down. Just two quick things, and going back to your comments at the beginning about the Greater Niagara Chamber of Commerce Awards evening. I just want to point out that the NPCA actually won the award for environmental leadership, and I think that was well deserved by the organization. Second thing is, as you know, I sit on the SWIFT board, the Southwestern Integrated Fiber Technology Project Board, and I was re-elected back to the executive position on that 2 weeks ago. And there's some things coming down the road that I'll be bringing to council likely for the September meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Councillor Foster, I have something for you in my office after the meeting, if you would care to just stop me before you leave. Okay, thank you. Councillor Crater.
My question was answered already.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Crater. Good to see you tonight. Councillor Sorrento.
Thank you, Chair. I don't know if you mentioned, if you did, I apologize. There was the 150th anniversary of the DQ
Yes.
water treatment plant. Okay, fair enough. So just a shout out to Director Lambert, Commissioner DeChellis, and I need to thank staff, Director Tassoni helped me out with some issues, and Commissioner, oh my God, I'm losing Henry Koning, Commissioner Koning helped me out to help out some residents with Niagara Regional Housing, and very important. So shout out to the staff. Thank you very much. Chair, great job.
Thank you, Councillor Sorrento. Seeing no other speakers on the list, now we can adjourn the meeting. Safe drive home. Yeah, okay.